So if it's blinking red, it's recording?
Should be.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to talk about making lacto-fermented ginger beer. And what it is basically is a soft drink that is pretty healthy for you.
Delicious.
And absolutely delicious, yeah. So it's something that your kids in particular are going to really like. I haven't run into anybody that didn't like it. It's tasty, it's super refreshing, it's light, it's not super sweet like store-bought sodas. It's got live lactobacillus culture in it and whatever else happens to sneak in there. So it's got a couple of maybe slightly less than politically correct things in it, like white sugar, but you're already putting that in your kombucha, right?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Because we do it the right way.
And I just do it in these bottles because they take pressure really well, and the ginger beer doesn't sit in there for a long time, so it's not like you're canning things in plastic, so it's probably okay. But if you don't like plastic at all anywhere around, you can do this with like glass swing top jars instead for storing.
Could you substitute coconut sugar?
Could you, I'm sorry?
Substitute coconut sugar?
As long as the lactobacillus will eat it, you can use any type of sugar
Anybody
probably.
know?
What was the question?
Coconut sugar, can that be substituted for it?
I'm sure it would be fine, but why do we want to use coconut sugar instead of white sugar? Question? Here's the deal. When we're fermenting many recipes, especially like kombucha, we get the best result for growth of that lactobacilli from white sugar. Don't ask me why. But there's actually been studies, especially on the kombucha, that in kombucha it's black tea and white sugar, and forget the deal of making peach this and blah blah that, and
Yep.
so
Yep.
you can try it. Try it. There's no reason you can't try it.
That's the fun thing. What you're going to see here is what I came up with over a period of several times of experimentation. It's worked really well. So I'm going to do it from start to finish. The first thing I do, just like Gunsmoke, when somebody's going to have a baby, boil water.
He's so funny.
And I can be doing other stuff while that water's boiling. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prep the citrus fruits. I like to use, for basically 4 liters of ginger beer, I like to use anywhere from 1 lemon worth of juice to 2 lemons, or maybe a combination of lemons and limes, something like that. I'm going to use 2 limes and a lemon this time.
Because it's what we had.
There you go.
These have already been washed because I'm going to use the outsides too.
And they're definitely organic. Do not recommend conventional
Fruit.
No, especially when you're using the rind.
So I've got a jar I'm going to brew this in. Old-fashioned lemon juicer. So we just go for it and juice that directly into the jar.
Save steps.
Yes.
They're kind of slippery.
It's just because we're all watching you.
Yeah.
Very slippery.
This is when he needs his background.
Okay. And then I put this in a little brew pump. Do the same thing again. It's a nice juicy lemon.
That's good.
And I know my juicer is going to get a little clogged up, so I'm just going to do this.
Yeah. Oh.
Limes going in.
Do you mind if the seeds go in when you do that, Don? Or
If what?
if there are any seeds, do you
No,
care?
I don't mind.
Okay. Just, I don't even know what he does.
Just drink. Lucky beneficiary.
Just
So
drink
if
it.
anybody has any questions about the lacto-fermentation process, for me or for Monica while I'm doing this, just shoot them right out.
Well, I guess one question. Sorry, I know I should know this, but because I'm married to him. But you use a ferment that you already have, right? A
Yep.
starter.
Yep.
So do you want to tell them how you made that original starter?
Good idea.
Okay.
Okay. The original starter, in this case, you could probably use whey, and it would probably work out okay. I've never done that. I started with Sally's Nourishing Traditions recipe, and she tells how to make a ginger bug out of just the ginger root, which has some lactobacillus in it, if it's organic, hopefully, and hasn't been scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed and who knows what. So the first bug I tried to use using not organic ginger, didn't work. Second one, I managed to start using organic ginger, I used it for a while. Then I saw online that you could use other types of roots to start your bug. So the next time I started a bug, I started it with dandelion root
Nice.
from my yard. It went way faster than the ginger root to start out with.
Isn't that cool?
It took like 2 days to make the bug instead of a week or two. And I've been using that same culture for the last 2.5, 3 years.
So when you do the dandelion root, would you just scrub that? How much do you use?
I just got, one
Yeah, as
root
much as you can
about
get.
that size. Scrubbed it not too meticulously because I didn't want to take off
Just get
everything.
the obvious
Right.
dirt
but to
off.
get the soil off, the loose soil and all that. Then I just cut it up into sections and put in water, added some sugar.
Just about that.
Yeah,
4 or 5 inches.
that much in a quart jar or something like that.
Okay.
Stirred it up, covered it loosely, put it room temperature, dark place, let it sit overnight.
Exciting.
I don't think I even added any extra sugar with the dandelion root. It just kind of went. It was
That is the
fast.
Now, when you
thing.
say it went, what happens? Does it
beer.
bubbly
No,
with
I
the
know.
It starts
I
to
love
turn
the love
cloudy.
it's
Burdock and
dandelion.
dandelion.
Yeah, it starts to
Root
turn
beer.
cloudy, and you start to see bubbles.
Okay.
And what you can do if you're worried about it running out of sugar, or it doesn't have enough sugar, you can just taste it a little bit. And if it tastes sweet, it's probably still got enough sugar in it. If it doesn't taste sweet anymore, it's getting kind of low in the sugary taste, add a little more sugar in there. Just keep it alive.
So the bug recipe is in Nourishing Traditions
Yep.
if you need it.
Yep, and I think it'll work just fine.
Yeah.
Or if you're a friend of Dom's,
Get some dandelion.
just get
That's
some
right.
starter from him.
Which reminds me, if someone could sneak around inside, you know where the freezer is, Nancy?
Yeah.
Get the bottles out of the freezer.
Oh, good idea.
Because I'm going to
Okay, I'll
get some
stand
starter before I'm done here. Meanwhile, though, our water is hot, so now I'm adding it. We'll get it in front of the camera. Adding it to this. This is another little trick I learned. There's lots of ginger beer recipes online. Some of them are lacto-fermented. Most of them are not. Most of them are like yeast-fermented.
Yeah.
Lacto-fermented is better.
Yes.
But one of the yeast-fermented recipes said, I like the really bright flavors of the citrus that comes from the peel. So they said, steep the peel in some hot water and add it in there. So that's what I do. Never tried it without, so I don't know if it really adds anything to it or not. But there you go. Okay, so while that's steeping, we do more stuff. Got all of our citrus in there. Sugar, 1 cup.
One
That should
cup.
be easy to remember. And what's not present in most ginger beer recipes, salt.
Yes. It's good.
And Monica already kind of stole my thunder about why it's good to have
Sorry.
salt in here.
Gotta do
Another
the
good reason
salting.
is it just adds a little bit more of a mineral softness to the flavor, like an Italian soda.
How much?
Plus, sweet and salt is nice.
Half a teaspoon is what I put in. Half a teaspoon doesn't make it taste salty, but it just gives it that nice mineral softness.
Love it.
Yeah. So, sugar is really hard to dissolve. Lots of recipes say boil that sugar in some water. I say, why bother?
Do a little dance.
That's right. Ginger, how much? About 70 to 100 grams is what I like. It's pretty bright. 70
It's
to 100
gingery,
grams if it's
yeah.
good ginger.
That's about 3 inches,
It's about
4 inches.
3 inches,
That
4
much.
inches. I like to say kind of a palm's worth.
It's good.
Yeah. And since my kitchen scale broke, that's how I'm measuring it right now.
There you go.
Cut it in cross sections, and that's just to keep the fiber lengths short.
Yep.
Makes it easier to blend. And again, this has already been scrubbed, but not heavily scrubbed because a little of that live stuff isn't bad. But coming from a store, you don't know how it's been pawed over or whatever. So I have a little blender here. You can use a little blender for this. You can use a big blender. You can use a food processor, mortar and pestle, whatever. But
That'd
the
be
idea
hard.
is, just as was said before, surface area. So a little water to help blend. We're going to switch our plugs. And away we go. I blend that into a nice paste, kind of like a curry paste or something like that. In fact, you could start for some curry paste.
Okay, I'm hungry.
Okay, so that goes in. You don't want any of it to go to waste, so clean all that real good. I'm going to put a little more water in here just to temper this. I don't want to crack the jar. I don't think it will. We're going to fill this thing with water, so it kind of doesn't matter how much you put in when. So now we'll add this in.
Your lemon peel, your citrus peel brightener.
Yep,
That's good.
just get your nose over this.
No, it makes sense because all the oil is in the peel.
Yeah. Okay, and we're almost done. The final ingredient, your last batch of ginger beer. Never drink it all the way down. Always save about that much. And if you got to go for a while between batches, that much will keep in your refrigerator for months.
Just a quickie, same thing with the pickles, folks, or the fermented cukes. If you eat them down and you save about 2 inches of the brine, just fill it back up with water and new cucumbers on the counter.
There you go. Yeah.
Cool. Done.
So as I said before, this was started with a bug that I made probably 2.5, 3 years ago. And it's just been generation after generation after generation after generation, completely consistent for probably the last 2.5 years. No changes in the way this ferments. Hopefully this is cold enough that it's not going to go everywhere.
Oh.
Well, it's looking good. So I'll just put in about half a cup to a cup of this stuff.
So if you're using whey, do you use still half a cup to a cup?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's got its population of lactobacillus in there, and what you're looking for is to just get that population up. So the less you put in to start with, the more generations it has to go through before you get some significant amounts in there. But yeah, you could start with just a tiny bit. You could start with a cup. If you're in a big hurry, start with 2 cups. Whatever. Eventually, it'll all work out. So that's now inoculated. More water. You want to make sure that sugar gets blended in. It's going to sit at the bottom. It's kind of hard to dissolve. Other thing is, lactobacillus is aerobic. You
Likes
that?
the air.
It likes the air, particularly when it's starting out. It likes air. So this really helps the aeration. And by the way, when you're making a bug, it's really nice to aerate it once a day too. That helps
Just
to make sure that you're keeping the good stuff.
By shaking it or something?
Yeah,
Or just-
you can cap it and shake it, or just whisk it or whatever.
Is your bug or any part of it sensitive to, say, metals or anything like kombucha? Like you're stirring things?
Yeah,
or-
it doesn't seem to be sensitive to that.
Okay.
I don't know what the differences are between the bacteria in this versus kombucha, but I'm sure there's some pretty big differences.
Kombucha is really its own.
Yeah, it's like its
ballgame.
own
Well,
thing.
because
Yeah.
it's bacteria and yeast, and the yeast
Yeah.
is a big percentage of what's going on. So it's
Okay, so we're on